Hi, this is Celeste. I'm a nationally certified interventionist. I'm a family coach and I'm also a recovery coach. And I'm here to talk to you today about boundaries and just how difficult it is to set boundaries. And I know this is such a hard topic for a lot of people. And so many of us out there who have struggled to set boundaries say, like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why can't I set boundaries? Because we're all too aware of the consequences of not setting boundaries. We feel low self-esteem, we feel guilty, we feel bad about ourselves, we feel unconfident, we feel resentful towards ourselves and the person that we can't set boundaries with, because we feel like, well, they should just know not to do this. There's a lot of anxiety and stress and depression and hopelessness and powerlessness that goes with not being able to set boundaries. And with all of those emotions stirring around inside of us, we often think, well, with all this going on, why can't I just say no? Why can't I just say stop? Why can't I give that person, or tell them I'm not okay with that, and give a meaningful consequence and follow through with it? And there's so many reasons why it's so hard to set boundaries. And a lot of times, many of us grew up in households where we were told, just don't say anything, people will be offended, nice girls don't set boundaries, just go along with it so that nobody's upset. And even if we grew up in a house where there was a lot of fighting, whether it was verbal or physical, sometimes we're afraid to set those boundaries because we're afraid of it becoming a verbal attack or a physical attack, because that's what we've been taught. We've been taught that if we stand up for ourselves, we're going to get verbally accosted, we're going to get beat up. And a lot of times too, when we try to set boundaries, our thoughts or our feelings or our opinions get belittled or minimized. Like, oh, you're just too easily offended, you're too sensitive, don't take things personally, don't let it bother you. So there's so many reasons why we have a hard time setting boundaries. Or maybe we're not a naturally shy person and we have a hard time speaking up. And a lot of times, for a lot of us, we weren't taught how to set boundaries. We were just taught, well, go with the flow of it. Don't say anything that person will be offended. So it's almost like we were taught that not setting boundaries is the way to navigate through life. And so not only do we not have the skills to set boundaries, but then maybe when we've tried to set boundaries, we've gotten negative feedback, anywhere from being belittled to being yelled at to being hit or assaulted in some way. So a lot of times we've learned through our own conditioning in life that sometimes it's just better to not set a boundary than risk the consequences of trying to set a boundary. Or, maybe even that in the past people said, oh yeah, I'll do that. And then, they just run off and do their own thing anyway. So it's almost like, which of these two options is more painful to you? So, if you're dealing with somebody in active addiction who's struggling to get sober, it's almost like you need to hit a rock bottom for the consequences of you're not setting boundaries, as much as they need to hit a rock bottom for their addictive behaviors. So it's almost like we need to have some event in our lives happen to us. It's that where we say, this is just so bad that I have to start to set boundaries going forward. I have to get into recovery from not setting boundaries and letting the world treat me like a doormat. And that can be a very difficult, scary, lonely place to be, is when you're thinking, I have no other choice but to start setting boundaries for my own survival and my own emotional well-being, and sometimes even your physical well-being. And that can be a very hard place to go, because like I said, a lot of times we're not taught these skills growing up. A lot of times maybe our parents don't know how to set adequate boundaries, so we haven't had them teach us. Maybe we don't learn them in school. We have maybe some of those same patterns happening in school, where we try to stand up for ourselves, try to set boundaries, and we just get more bullied, or the teacher says, well, don't worry about it, it's not that big of a deal. So a lot of times this is very learned behavior, and we have to get to a point where we have to say that it's no longer okay for me to live like this. So what I've done is I've created a boundaries course, and it's specifically geared towards people who have loved ones in active addiction. So it's very much geared towards what a lack of boundaries looks like, how the negative consequences of not having boundaries, and then we look at the opposite side of the coin, where we look at what healthy boundaries looks like, what some of the positive consequences are for setting boundaries, and then we get into the meat and potatoes, which is what everybody wants to learn, how to set those boundaries. And I give you some very simple yet strategic and effective tools and strategies that you can start to implement right away, right from when you start taking this course. And they're very simple, so that you can build confidence in building boundaries, because I know how difficult it is to do that. So we'll start small and get you working up to bigger boundaries, more meaningful boundaries, but we want you to start small so you can get some success with some of the small boundaries. So if you're interested in taking this course and learning how to set effective boundaries with your loved one in active addiction, by all means, check out the caption for more details on how you can register for this course. And for the month of June, I'm offering something super, super special. So if you register for this course in the month of June, you'll automatically be entered to win a free coaching session with yours truly, where I can coach you through some of the stuff that you've learned in the boundaries course. So if there's specific things that you want to work on and talk about, you can bring those to the coaching session, and we will have a boundaries masterclass where you can really get in and delve in and get some individualized support for setting boundaries. And I'm looking super forward to working with the lucky winner of this course, or this contest, and I'm looking forward to hearing all your feedback on what you liked about the course, what you'd like to see improved, so that I can incorporate that into the next version. And please contact me if you have any questions or concerns about the course, and please do send me your feedback. Thanks for tuning in.